Welcome to Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. I'll be covering every studio song the band has recorded and every bonus track that I can find. Each week we'll go over a new song from the beginning to where they are currently, and as they keep adding albums, I'll keep adding shows. Let the deep dive party begin.
In the magic garden, some were singing, some were dancing.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. I am your host, Scott Haskin. Happy Monday, you guys. I hope you all had a fantastic and relaxing weekend, that you're ready to, have a great week, take on whatever challenges come before us. Seems like there's always something these days. If it isn't, some kind of weather event, there's supposed to be an asteroid that's going to kill us or some bacteria. God only knows. But all we can do is what we can do, and that's our best. So hang in there, keep moving forward. Before we dig into today's song, it's Monday, of course. So let me take a minute to just say, go to the Uriah Heep official website that's run by Dave White, and it is uriah-heep.com. And also check out mick-box.net. But if you go to uriah-heep.com, you can check out the Everyday Rocks box set, which is really just, to this day, it still blows me away what a great package that is. There's also the Choices box set, which is absolutely fantastic. All kinds of links to the band's albums, the updated picture discs that they've been releasing from the Everyday Rocks box set as individual picture discs, and the ones that have gone beyond the 7 that are included in that box set as they continue to release those from BMG. Keep an eye on that. As I get information about releases from BMG, I will also post those on the Instagram page, the Facebook group, and on the web page that I have for the podcast. That is at scotthaskin.com. And then just click on the Uriah Heep podcast link at the top. And there you go. It'll be right there waiting for you. So lots of good stuff coming out. I know they've got a couple more things in the works. So keep tabs out on those things. I'm just, again, I'm so blown away by the quality of the discs. The graphic art on them is fantastic. They're nice, thick, really quality discs. We didn't have picture discs like that when I was growing up. We had picture discs, but this is they're just nice and thick and really, really solid. So yeah, check those out. Also, just a quick shout out to Cakewalk by BandLab, Podbean, iTunes, all the places that host the podcast, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts. It's just an amazing list of places. I don't even know all the places the podcast can be found at. I know most of the major ones like Amazon. Also, thanks to my graphic artist, Scott Lazinski, to Audionamics. I will not do a podcast without Instant Dialogue Cleaner unless I had to, like the one time I had to, and it sucked. We got through it, but yeah, it's definitely the staple in my podcasting arsenal. Also, Isotope, Waves. You guys know how I feel about Waves. Sonatus, and also, I don't think I talk about the microphone that I use. It is an Audio-Technica AT3035. It's 20 years old. I was the original owner, and this thing still works so well. I've seen all these new mics come out. Shure's got a really nice mic that's designed for podcasting. I have several friends who use it and swear by it. But you know what? If things that you have are working, there's not necessarily a need to change them up. The quality I get out of this mic, I think this is just exactly what I need. I think the podcast sounds really good, nice and clean, with all the little things I use, like the Instant Dialogue Cleaner. You're not getting a bunch of extra noise. You're not getting noise from the computer fans. Nice crystal clear sound out of this microphone. And it's been through, Colorado, Arizona, California, and Nevada. So it's traveled with me for quite a number of years, and the thing still works great. They've got newer models out. They've got USB models out. This is an old, classic XLR, requires phantom power. And I just run that into the next component I don't talk about, which is my Motu M4 digital audio interface. That is USB, goes into the computer. The mic plugs into that. I've got a mixer plugged into it for when I need to record bass, or the rare time I need to record a horribly played guitar track, because that's as best as I can do on a guitar. I can make sounds, and I'm good at making sounds. I can play one riff that I wrote on it, which is really nice. Yeah, and then everything just goes into there and through the computer. So lots of great components that I use. Very minimal amount of things to do the podcast. I've seen some setups that are pretty crazy, but yeah, that's the stuff I use. So thank you to all the companies that have created the products that I use to be able to deliver the show to you. And speaking of show delivery, my friends at the Deep Dive Podcast Network, go to deepdivepodcastnetwork.com. You can find the latest episodes of all the shows. Some of the shows don't air anymore. They've gone through their catalog. Like I'm getting close to the end of all the Uriah Heep stuff. So there won't be episodes at the top, but I do have links on the Uriah Heep webpage that I have on my website, scotthaskin.com. At the bottom, I have links to all of the podcasts. Even though the podcast may not be having new episodes out, the old episodes are still there to enjoy, just like they will be for this show. Even if I move it to another hosting service, I'll make sure that everything has links. It'll take a little time. There might be a short bit of downtime on the website, but every individual episode should have a link. They're all organized by season. Every album is a season. And then within that, every episode has its own page and link. So I may have to do some updates on those if I end up moving off of Podbean, which I may just for financial reasons. But in any case, other than the transition, those links will always be available. And they should be in your podcast catcher, whatever one you're using. So whether you're on Stitcher or Apple Podcasts or Amazon or whatever, there should be an available link. But the Deep Dive Podcast Network is pretty awesome. There's lots of great shows, as we talk about every week. We have T-Bone's Prime Cuts on the other side. We have the Deep Purple Podcast, Skinnerd Reconsidered, Sabbath Bloody Podcast, In the Lap of the Pods, Hawk Binge, Maiden A to Z, Diary of the Madmen, the Ultimate Ozzy Podcast, Universally Speaking, the Red Hot Chili Peppers Podcast, Judas Priest Cast, and the Podcast Will Rock, Backtracks Aerosmith Revisited, Backtracks Theme Music, North by South, So Far, So Pod, So What, the Tom Petty Project, Seaside Pod Review, and Volume for All, Rock Roulette Podcast, and our most recent edition regarding Lulu. Also, shout out to my buddy Brandon over at Metallicast. He's been on hiatus as of late, but I talked to him the other day. He's doing awesome. Looking forward to coming back with new episodes at some point reasonably soon. And of course, go check out gottahear'em.com. And Ace, go look for Louder with Ace on Stitcher and YouTube. Again, all the links are on the Uriah Heep page on the website at scotthaskin.com. Lots of fun stuff to enjoy. Especially once this show is over, I highly recommend going and checking those out. Also, if you're on my website and you're looking for some other podcasts that I've done, aside from being one of the co-hosts on Backtracks Aerosmith Revisited, I also have another podcast called the Haskincast Podcast, where I do non-deep dive album reviews, because the only reason I'm able to do deep dives is because I have Mick's endorsement and the band's endorsement to do it on this show. Other than that, I just do 1-minute clips and just talk about each song. So I'll do like a whole album at a time, as opposed to doing a show dedicated to a deep dive on an individual song like I do on this show. I've also done interviews with a bunch of different people. That's where I initially did the reviews with all the members of Uriah Heep and some of the past members, as well as different, actors and people. Dee Wallace has been on a couple times. Gabrielle Stone has been on a couple times. Alison Arngrim, just some absolutely wonderful people. One of my favorites was getting to interview Officer Petrie Hawkins Bird from Judge Judy and his wife, Makita Bond Bird. Just absolutely wonderful people. That's actually been my most popular YouTube interview, which was great. Not all of them are video. That one was a video one, so that probably helped. But absolutely wonderful people. So there's lots of stuff to check out, and I've got it broken down into interviews, reviews, and podcasts I've done on my own work. Because, you got to self-promote, because who else is going to do it for you? So all that being said, that covers all the stuff. Thank you guys for all the sharing and all the comments and stuff over the years, the reviews, the ratings. That's all been very helpful and very appreciative. Whether you like the show or not, I very much appreciate you taking time to give the feedback. When I interviewed Gabrielle, I think it was the last time I interviewed her, we talked about this because her second book had just come out. And it's an amazing journey that she had. And she tells that story in her 2 books. But we were talking about it, and I was talking about some of the negative feedback I had received for one of my Vegas books. And she goes, it's actually a good thing to get negative feedback, because if all your feedback is, 5 stars, oh my God, you're so great, it just looks like you paid a service to do it. If you have a couple of negative reviews out there, at least there's some real people out there that took the time to invest in your product, and whether it was their time or their money and time, and take the time to leave a review. So even a negative review shows that you're not just, buying a service to leave reviews or asking all your friends to do it, and no real customers are doing it. So that was pretty cool. That was some really good advice. Thank you, Gabrielle. And congratulations on your recent marriage. After everything you've been through, my God, you deserve it. So speaking of going through things, today's song is about a relationship. It is called Free Me. I originally reviewed this song back on May 28th of 2021. So right around 3 years, or 2 years, God, yeah, like I need to time travel. Right around 2 years ago, this was off of their 11th album, Innocent Victim. There have been no other reviews of this song, just this one. So let's get into the new version. Here it is. Wow, this sounds very close to the original. I actually almost thought that was John Lawton blended in there. Like maybe they took the original voice recording from him and put it in there. It just was like right in the pocket where John was. No, Bernie sounds good singing this. I like it. I love the sound of the acoustics. They captured that very well. Also, the Hammond in there sounds really nice. It's so weird to hear another version of the song, because I don't think I've even heard a live version of it, or maybe I have. This was on one of the best of albums, the one that I got when I had kind of lost connection with Uriah Heep, and I kind of wanted to get back into them. And I wasn't sure like what albums had come out in what order, and this was before the internet. I found a best of at, I want to say it was either Best Buy or Media Play maybe in Colorado. And picked it up and just was blown away by how great the band sounded, and how the different singers sounded. And I think there was like a live version of Lady in Black in there. And it was one of the ones where they got the crowd involved. And there was some really cool stuff on there. But this was a new song for me, Free Me. I think Come Back to Me was on there. And, some other ones that were real standout tracks for me. And but this version sounds good so far. I really like the way Bernie's singing this. I'm getting, that exact performance that I would come to expect out of Bernie. That there's a certain way he delivers passion in his vocal that I've really come to enjoy. Actually, like right from the beginning, I really enjoyed it. And he's singing the song exactly how I would expect him to, putting his own nuances in it, not singing it exactly the way John did. But with respect to that original version, I mean, how many ways would you be able to sing this song that are that different unless you went like so out of control that it made no sense? So it's going to have, some resemblance of the original format, but I really like the way that Bernie's keeping to that, but personalizing it as well, putting his inflections in where he feels they should go, and just singing it so naturally. It sounds great, coupled with the organ, the acoustic guitars, simple drums, nice bass line. It's just like a nice bed of music for the delivery of the song. And it's kind of a, it's a difficult song lyrically. It's one of those, breakup songs. And I I've got to get away from you. Like, I've got to be done with this. It still hurts kind of thing. But it's almost like an inspiring bed of music that says, we're going to be okay. I'm going to get through this. Yeah, things suck right now, but it's going to be okay. And I like that because it's hard to portray that musically most of the time.
So long, easy rider. I know I'll miss you for a while, but sooner or later, I know that I'll forget you. So won't you free me?
Oh, I like that little fill-in from Phil Lanzon on keys. That was really nice. I like the tempo for this too. It seems a little bit faster than the original, not by much, but a little bit. But it feels good. You know, it's not too fast. It still allows you to have a little bit of the drama. I find if you're playing a song at too fast of a tempo, you lose some of those emotional nuances and it becomes more aggressive than it does passionate. But so for this one, I feel like this is a really good tempo range. I think Bernie's even kicked it up a notch in this last section, which I wasn't expecting. That's a nice surprise. Definitely feels more intense in the story. But I really like the combination of bass and organ here. That's kind of the other highlight for me. Acoustic guitars are doing great. They're really keeping that melodic rhythm of the song. Love the strumming. You know, I've talked about how many songs this band has made me wish that I was good at acoustic guitar. I'm not. Maybe someday I will be, but for now, I have other instruments that I play. But yeah, this song is very well done. Very good recording. Interestingly, another song that doesn't have a solo in it. And I always find that so fascinating. And that just goes to show, I think, the generosity of the musicians in the band, that nobody steps up and says, hey, we need a solo in this song. I'll take it, or you take it, or whatever. Like they're just playing for the song. And not every song needs a solo. I think Bernie does a great job carrying the emotion of the song. There's some really nice fill-in stuff from Phil. There's some great bass. Acoustic guitar and drums are really just keeping the song on point, which is very important. You know, somebody has to do that. And it sounds good. I think this is one too where I would probably be tempted live to drag it out a little bit more, start getting a little bit crazy with it, but not too crazy. Just maybe letting the musicians open up a little bit. But yeah, good song. I've always enjoyed this one. And yeah, I think Bernie did a great job covering for John, and it was some nice drums and good bass. Yeah. Definitely a fan of this version. So that will wrap it up for today's episode, guys. I hope you have a great Monday. I know Mondays are kind of, they feel like an uphill battle sometimes if they're the start of your week. But you know what? You're getting through it. And every day brings you closer to Friday. So you guys have a great day. We'll see you in the next episode. Cheers. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. If you have enjoyed this show, please consider going over to Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast outlet, leaving a rating or a review. Be sure to subscribe to make sure that you are notified when new episodes are available. Please be sure to share this podcast with your fellow Uriah Heep enthusiasts and anyone who you think would like Uriah Heep, which should be everyone. And if you are so inclined, please feel free to contribute to the Patreon account. And if you are not a Patreon subscriber, you can also pay through the PayPal link on the website listed in the show links below. I would also like to thank Uriah Heep for their very generous support of the show, and thank you guys for listening. We'll see you in the next episode. Happy days!